Hi, everybody. I just wanted to talk about this new moon in Aries. It's quite a big and I think important new moon. This change into Aries is quite profound. It is a solar eclipse, and with eclipses, they also bring this sense of um, important to proceedings. And also, it's a supermoon, so it's close. So you may be feeling quite emotional, as we always do with moons, but you also might be feeling a little irritable. And this will be because you feel overwhelmed and you can't get to the things that you would like to do, that you need to do, and you feel um, you cannot express yourself in the way that you need to, and just frustrated. So that's going to be good for what we need to do here. So just hold that thought. This sense of frustration around being held back in some way. But I just wanted to set the scene a little bit with this new moon, because right now the sun and the moon are conjunct Mercury. Mercury's retrograde in Pisces, going back and conjuncting Neptune in Pisces, and there's a stellium. It's all very complex, very Piscean. I just want to set the scene before we understand how wonderful this new moon in Aries might be for us. So just in general, I think this is a powerful correction to the Neptunian energy. So over the last 14 years, we've been interested in diversity and bringing people together and taking care of people. And there have been a lot of people migrating, and there's been wanting to take care of those people, and there are issues in the world that require compassion and so on. Um, and there's also been at the same time a a growing mass deception or fudging of truth, untruths, and that some people have bought into, because that's also Piscean energy, not being able to see clearly. And now we're being asked to fight for the underdog, for the diverse, for the sick, for the poor, for the suffering. There's a call. It's come to a head because Neptune is going to go into Aries on Sunday. And so this is sort of like a very acute peak, potent peak of interest here and of energy. It's a time really where you could the way I like to look at it is it's a time we're called to experience the Pieta. In other words, um, metaphorically, Mother Earth holding the suffering and ailing children, holding the children in her arms as they lie dying. And as we speak, they are dying. And that children all around the world are in danger of dying because of um, mistruth, untruths, and, um, you know, there's always that present, isn't there? So it's a time when I think we're seeing truth collapse into something we don't recognize anymore, and a time of disintegration, which is also Piscean, Neptunian energy, and a loss of boundaries. I mean, loss of boundaries can be good because it brings us together, but a loss um, for boundaries or putting in place of boundaries that keep others separate. So it is a time of great confusion globally, and for us personally too. But I just wanted to set the scene because enter new moon in Aries. And I'm calling this new moon the Joan of Arc moon because this is the energy it's asking us to harness. Um, and the idea is we're being called to fight for something we believe in and something that matters. Personally to us, of course, this is what this is about, just sharing what this might mean for you, but just putting it in the global context because I think um, that's pertinent right now and always with these things. And but how does that trickle down into our own personal lives? So there'll be some dream vision, idea, belief, um, soul purpose that might have been put on the back burner, again, for innocent reasons of just life. And, um, we forget too sometimes that we have this dream of what we want to do and what we want to be, and we don't realize that what we are actually doing right now is the purpose, even though it doesn't seem that grand. But putting that aside for the moment and keeping that in mind, this is a really good call for you to dust off that dream, that purpose, that call that you have to be who you are, to bloom as you know is intrinsic to you, to reset your purpose, to become clear and self-directed and courageous and willing to pioneer new ways of doing um, things for that dream, for pioneering new ways of being yourself, for expressing yourself in the world and achieving those things that seem important to you. And the idea here is to not be dependent on the outcome. So let's have a look at Joan. And when she got the first call, I think she was about 13. And, you know, with Mercury at the moment in this loose conjunction to the moon, and it's retrograde and it's going backwards, into the dream world of Pisces. What is it that you dreamt for yourself when you were younger? And so on. She had a vision, she had many visions, and she had a voice, and she, within telling her to fight for, in her case, for her country, which may not be, you know, um, unrelatable now for many people in the world. And she didn't let anything stop her. She got the men she needed to help, or, her knights, and she got her armor, she got her sword, she saddled up, and she went to fight. And she wasn't concerned whether or not she would achieve her aim. She just left that as, God's problem. She was just called to do it. And she just knew she had to be the mouthpiece and the sword arm and the presence of God on earth, etc. So we can take something from that in our humble little existences here, this is our purpose, not to worry about the outcome, but just to be what we're called to be, which is just who we are and how we're living our life. Unbeknownst to us, we think we should be doing these great things, but here we are living our life, and there's so much that we, unbeknownst to us, do to help the world and to be of service to the world in just the daily living of our lives. But as I said, that aside, so I think this new moon, it's an exhilarating call to fight for ourselves and what we want to do. And I know there are many of you out there struggling to achieve some things. And I'm hoping this new moon will give you the impetus and the belief to, yes, okay, I'm going to pick up my sword, I'm going to polish my sword, and I'm going to get out there and psychologically attack this. So as you know, new moons are about seeds that are planted. I mean, it's not literally calling you to fight, but there are seeds to be planted. And the seeds here are commitment to what it is you need to finish or redraw or repurpose, or ignite or regroup for. And it might be something as mentioned on the back burner till now. So Aries is fire. It has the ability to burn away your doubts. It's very clear pointed. So it is time to polish your sword, that psychological sword, and jump on your horse and carve out a path for yourself that you desire or that you need to. What's that saying? Necessity is the mother of invention. You know, sometimes you just have to think about what we need to do now, and that sparks some really interesting ideas. And Aries is about those new ideas. So purposely, like Joan, ride out to claim your vision And the question is, what is that? Um, and the other question might be, what are you willing to give everything up for to attain this? Um, no matter the outcome, um, what are you willing to put aside to do that? And I mean, it all comes down to, do you feel worth it? Of course. And this is always about the beliefs that um, harness or restrain us from being able to move forward. So, there are changes happening in the world. There are wars and rumors of wars and all of that kind of biblical stuff. And there is a fight for justice. There is globally a fight for the children of this world who are dying. Um, and we can take that. Please do fight for that in all the ways that are possible for you. But also for us to feel that call to fight for what we might have been um, unfairly kept from with our childhood conditioning and what happened to us and so on. So to be a warrior for you, um, and usually that vision has something to do with helping others, and that if you can follow that vision, you are bringing other people with you as well. But putting those dreams at the top of your list. So we're going to have a look at that for each of the signs. But before we get to that, I just want to say to you, look, this is a time where we might be feeling confused and at the same time impatient to get where we need to go. And we might not be sure how to proceed or whether we have the wherewithal to do that, whether we have the capacity, the ability, and so on. And just to be really compassionate with ourselves about that. Yes, you don't need to do anything this weekend. This is just a time of planting seeds and thinking about these things. It's just allowing new ideas, allowing some different pathways to follow, and just planting them and see which ones sprout. Some may not, and others may, and just putting it out there. Also, don't make any big decisions this weekend. Um, you can think about them, plan them, do the pros and cons. Just perhaps don't sign anything or commit to anything until after the 7th of April. It's when Mercury goes direct. That may be more um, auspicious, as they say, um, because that's when Mercury will go direct. But even so, right now, this retrograde, because it's in conjunction to the moon, means that emotions coming up from the past, and it might bring up loss and grief. And it might also mean that you are reminiscing with other people. There might be a focus on how to live your life more artfully and more, to do with finances, securing yourself, um, achieving those dreams, etc., expressing yourself. And also how we can embody the Pieta within our own hearts and in the world around us. So those old beliefs might be coming up of failure and a sense of inadequacy, and they can be used. You don't need to get rid of them. You can use them as fuel. And any anger and frustration you have about not being able to get to what you need to, you can use it as fuel, as impetus for the quest to overcome and implement how you would like to bloom in the world. Um, as I mentioned before, sometimes we have an idea of how we bloom and we don't realize that we are actually already blooming and that it's beautiful and that we're not seeing the success and how well we're doing. You're doing really, really well. But Aries is just coming in and going, okay, I've come to help you. Just cut through with the sword. Anything that does, any injustice, and anything does feel right, and just changing some of those beliefs or fighting through the sense of failure and inadequacy. So that's what we're doing, and we're just going to go through each sign now. and have a look at that. I'm going to do another little video on Neptune going into Aries. So I haven't said too much about that, but I just think this new moon brings much needed energy, a sense of urgency, and not stress, but just, yes, it's time for me to focus on what I know that I really want to do, and I feel called to do. And I just need to fight for that. And what can I do to, what beliefs can I challenge, um, understand? How can I turn that around? How can I uh, be my own best life coach right now? Come on, you know. So that's the idea with this. Right. Going to go through the signs. Now, this applies to if this is your sun sign, whether it's your ascendant, whether it's your moon, even your midheaven, anything in your chart. Of course, if you know your chart, you'll know where this is happening in your chart. So that will be even more significant for you as well. Um, and if you don't know that, please contact me. The other thing I wanted to say is that too, and I've been meaning to say that I've got a little modest, very modest YouTube channel that I post this on and other little things, so that if you're interested in going and have a look there, please do. Um, and, check out my website as well for these latest videos. And if you want to do an apprenticeship with me with learning astrology to become a professional astrologer, I am starting very soon. So by mid-year, we should be up and running. So if you are interested in doing that, only take um, four at the most, 4 or 5, to walk with you personally through all of the lessons and look at your charts. So anyway, I just thought I'd mention that. So let's look. Aries, this is this new moon for you. New perspectives on who you are, new ways of presenting yourself, challenging old beliefs about your inner and outer appearance to yourself and to others, and challenging what you feel you may be capable of, and fighting for your effective presence in the world. Now, please understand as I go through all of this, this does not negate what you're already doing in the world, which I think we underestimate. We underestimate the very humble things that we do every day, and we think we should be doing some grand thing. But this new moon is spearheading a focus on those things you want to achieve, maybe because you have to, because you need to change your life, you need more money, you need more security, you need to look after the children, or it's because there's something aching inside you to achieve. But I don't wish to negate what you're already doing. I want to honor that. I want to honor all the work you do for family, friends, community, and for all the work that you do on yourself. This is not nothing. This is, if that's all you ever do, then that is everything. But this is just, Aries is about the self. And I know that for a lot of us, we spend our lives for others. And so this is a moment of, well, what do I want for me? That's how I would like you to approach this. And in no way is it a criticism of you not having done something yet. Everything happens at the right time. And it's just that this new moon gives us capacity and a little oomph. It's symbolic of, hey, we'll ride this wave of energy, this change, this solar eclipse that does mean change for good and ill, but we can ride that change like Joan did. She saw what needed to be done. And yes, that's the way to put it. What you feel needs to be done for whatever reason. And she got on a horse She got a sword and she went for it. Put everything into it. Right, Aries. Taurus. What intuitive skills or talents do you want to develop or enhance or use in the world? There are deep emotions that will surface for you that go way back, and it might be even generational. And there might be secret things that you didn't realize about yourself or your feelings or your past or your mothers, the generations that reveal themselves to you. So the fight here is for your sensitivities, for your connection to spirit, for your sacred life within, to the beloved within, and call to meditation and just being still, going into the garden of the self, quiet, and allowing the beloved to speak to you. Taurus. Okay, Gemini. There will be new perspectives on friends and your vision for yourself and the world around you. So, new perspectives here, challenging your beliefs about friendship and how and with whom you share, and with others as well that are around you in groups. So, it's fighting for a friendship, fighting for yourself within a friendship. And friendships are worth fighting for, especially those intimate, close ones. They're worth it. And this is the time to do that. There'll be new ways of connecting with social media and putting yourself out there and using social media and the World Wide Web, to share your vision, your skills, and your sense of purpose. So, how can you, with technology, get who you are and your your vision out there? Cancer. This is about repurposing your legacy. It might be a change in job or an upgrade or rethinking that new job or wanting a better career, fighting for your rights at work or fighting to change your beliefs about your worth, taking charge of your destiny. How much are you willing to fight to get to the top of the mountain? Whatever that mountain is for you. Um, and using those doubts to fuel your future success. So again, it's about re-examining the beliefs there. We'll come to this at the end. Joan had something very important to say about this. Leo, look, this is a time to study in new ways, to challenge the belief that you can't study or that you're no good at study, or that you can't complete something is overwhelming. Keep that purpose like Joan front and center, and be willing to fail as Joan did in the end for her vision. Well, she failed in one way, but she succeeded. We're still talking about her. And it doesn't have to be, success in the worldly sense. There's more to it. It's the fight that's important. That's what we remember her for, is the fight, not the outcome so much. So there's new energy for what you want to become. And, this is about upskilling and studying for what you want to do for whatever reason, the practical reasons, good reasons that are to do with making yourself secure in the world, for family, for yourself, for realizing the potential that got lost along the way because of all of those difficult experiences. It's also good to make travel plans, but it's, mental travel. Where are you traveling to mentally? Pack those bags. How much are you willing to put on the line for what you want to achieve? How much are you willing to fight to change the beliefs about yourself, and so on? So fighting for that. If your children come to you and they say, "Oh, I don't believe I can do this," I know you would all be there going, "No, you can do it. You can, la la." So that's the kind of thing I mean. This is the Aries new moon. This is the seeds we're planting in ourselves. You can do this. You can do it. You can go on that journey and don't worry about the outcome. Virgo, look, life is complex at the moment and really maybe internally a little bit rugged right now. Um, there are deep psychological machinations going on that might need your attention. Um, therapy, no, in other words, looking within, I mean, literally therapy for sure, but looking within is the sword that will loosen those chains that keep you locked in the past, locked into feeling you're not enough. So being conscious of and embracing those conditioned beliefs will help you shift them. Um, and to do that with compassion and insight to, well, break down the walls of the castle. Um, there might be issues to talk with your partner about, um, and to fight for, to work towards deep intimacy on all levels with your partner, on every level. And also making plans for the expenditure of joint money and investments. That's also a good idea right now. So, Virgo, yes, deep waters. Libra, fighting for your relationship, um, challenging beliefs in your relationship, um, challenging the way you see each other and developing new ways of seeing each other, new ways of communication, taking old feelings and um, what was promised and renewing your purpose as a couple. If you're single, just reassessing how you interact with others close to you and in general. What can you learn from others in painful situations about your own judgments against yourself? And trying new ways to connect with people. Now's a good time to try and connect in all the ways that may be possible. Scorpio, look, there are new ways of doing the daily routine here. You're feeling intensely focused on routine right now and getting all those small jobs done, feeling shattered perhaps and a bit overwhelmed and stressed and needing to take care of yourself in that. So just go gently with that. You're fighting to find how also you can be of service to the world and fighting to change any beliefs or unworthiness or ineffectiveness. So new plans to provide um, a psychological environment to um, help those beliefs through compassion change, but also new plans to provide a healthy environment for your nervous system in general. So just rest and don't get bogged down in the details, especially this weekend. Don't, let the sort of purpose cut through um, any red tape in here. Just, okay, I got my purpose. The red tape will sort itself out. It'll disentangle. Don't worry. But Sagittarians, okay, fighting for your children and for your inner child. So think of those two together. What do they need right now? And the answer may be they need to be seen and heard and acknowledged and encouraged and valued. Probably what you didn't get when you were young. Um, that's the focus, but you can do that for your children, which you do anyway. But that's the area for you right now. So making plans with your children to nurture their futures and yours, because of what they're doing, you know, what's that saying? You're only ever as happy as your unhappiest child, right? So it's intertwined. Um, that's for fathers too, I'm sure. It might be, putting some rules in place for them, finding your own independence with the children and helping them to carve out their own independence. So, what things do you also do naturally for yourself that you haven't been able to get to that you could use out there in the world to express yourself and find a platform to shine? And that's also relevant to your children. So, children, inner child, shine, express. And the key here is the things that you naturally do at home um, that you find enjoyment is the platform for you to express yourself in that might feed into the purpose and the vision you have for yourself. Capricorn, making plans with family, maybe to buy real estate or looking at the financials that way, or reminiscing, remembering with family and seeing the past in new ways, sharing that past and coming to an understanding around that, remembering how you were parented and how that affects the way that you parent and that ancestral legacy and what we can do to change that up. Um, Fighting for your family in all the ways that it's possible and having your purpose. If it is about children and your family, one way we can really help our children and our family and the ancestral legacy is to have a purpose and to go for it. That will lift everybody up in the family if we can do that. So fighting for your very private self too, to find a secure inner home as well as a home. So it might literally be about finding a home as well. How are you giving all for your family? And maybe more pertinently, how are you giving all for your inner self? And the question here is why? What's the why? That's the Neptunian stuff, the why. It's the voice of God that Joan heard. And that applies to all signs. And making plans, planting seeds to change the old ancestral patterns. Aquarius, fighting to be heard, finding new ways to connect with others, new ways of using social media. Maybe feeling overwhelmed from emails, posts, podcasts, information, things you have to do to connect with other people. Maybe a lot of talking, which may be fabulous. It might be, would be, and reminiscing with others, unpacking relationships. And, just wonderful to be able to do that with friends, to unpack things and talk. It might be also that you're thinking that way about the world too. You're speaking with others from around the world and sharing their pain and offering help and discussing things. There's that. It's Aquarius after all. It's a wide berth. You might, because of Aquarians, sometimes feel quite detached and alone. You might feel alone in all of that. So this is a good time to talk to yourself and try and connect with people that you know will really appreciate you. Um, and using the way that you think differently to connect and also share those different ideas. Wanting to change the world one post at a time, that's also involved with this. What are you willing to risk to be heard? We have a lot of shame around, oh, what am I saying? Who am I? What will people think? All of that, right? But what are we willing to risk? Is our purpose more important than our fear of being ridiculed or not understood? Just something, throwing it out there. Investigating beliefs that might have held you back in the past from being heard. Again, it's going back and sort of what beliefs might stop you from doing that. And basically, this is the time to speak up and think up, to take what is down here and think it up in a new way. All right, last but not least, Pisces. This is about fighting for your material security. So using your sensitivity, your intuition, your compassion to secure yourself in the world. And Pisceans, you're very good at securing yourself in the world, actually. You've got good skills there. So using these skills in new ways, honoring these skills, fighting for the highly sensitive person that you are. Maybe you're wanting more creativity in your job, or a creative job, a new way of making ends meet, wanting a job that serves humankind, that helps others, that gives you a license to use that sacred skill set. And of course, that applies to us all. We all have the sacred skill set. And the idea with Joan of Arc is that there was a sacred purpose to it. I mean, whatever you might think about that whole scenario, war, fighting, and all of that, but there was, for Joan, a sacred um, a sacred call, and that goes for all of the signs. It is intrinsically a sacred call. Um, Also, Pisces, rethink how you're giving. Are you overgiving, overcompensating for not feeling enough? All of that. Just be careful of that. And just be careful around scammers and that sort of thing that's rife these days. Just hold back on anything like that. Be doubly careful. So, all right. To finish up, I want to give you a quote from Joan of Arc herself. And it goes like this, and it's brilliant. And you probably know it already because it's, very well known. All battles are won or lost in the mind. I did that. All battles are won or lost in the mind. So, new moon in Aries, to take that psychological sword and go, right, you know, it's about, I believe I can do this. I believe in my purpose, what I need to do. And what we need to do maybe is just make our mind a place of love first, of kindness and compassion, because we don't want to go in and start fighting with our own mind. That wouldn't work. That we need to befriend what ails us in our mind, what causes distress. We need to work with that, embrace that. And this will ease the fever of our mind. And then we're tilling the soil and we're planting the seeds in soil that's rested and been nurtured and fertilized with love. And then you'll know that you are enough to do what you came here to do. Please know you're already doing it. That Aries is just saying if there are factors in your life that need your courage, that there is a mountain to climb in your life that you need the stamina and belief in yourself to climb. This is the weekend to make plans, to think about it, to grab your sword, polish it up, put your armor on, get on your horse, and believe in the call of your being, of your incarnation, in your purpose of who you are, and go forth and achieve that thing. So, yeah, let's follow Joan on her quest. This is a vision quest. It's a vision quest to bring it down to reality. And we'll follow Joan and her example. Blessings to you. Beloved blessings. Take care of yourselves. And I'm excited for what seeds this new moon, what bounty that may bring in the years ahead. Bye for now.